Thank you. Thanks, and a big hand for what's his name? Apparently, I'm the only one that's not his brother. All right, by round of applause, let me just get this out of the way. Before this weekend, who has seen me perform before? By round of applause. Who has seen any? Less than half. Let's call that less than half. I've got to get a new agent. All right, let me explain then a couple of things about me that will help you appreciate this a bit more. First off, I'm going to apologize up front. I know I shouldn't do that in a show, but I'm going to talk fast. I'm sorry. I'll probably change subjects. I won't finish a sentence. Here's the deal. I suffer from what the doctors call social anxiety, which means I hate people. I know it seems like a poor career choice, but if you take diazepam and Enzoloft, mix it in Red Bull, boom, going to go for like an hour and a half. So that's my brain I'm working on. All right. Oh, also, I should introduce myself properly. My name is TC. A lot of times after the shows, people want to know what the TC stands for. So I'll tell you that now. It stands for nothing. I come from a poor family. We could not afford vowels. So. Although I did find out in Europe, my name's pronounced. So I've got that going for me. Let's do this. I should tell. I mentioned this last night. I grew up in Montana. Thank you. Nobody gives a shit. All right, that's great. All right. I'll tell you this. The best thing about growing up in Montana, when I was 7 years old, I was about 4. When I was 7 years old, that's when I realized my grandfather was a cowboy. He was a real cowboy. He did not look like that. You cannot be a Montana cowboy and swing your rope that way. Okay, they don't maybe a cowpoke. There are no kids here, right? I thought I saw a kid. That kind of freaked me out because I hate kids. All right. It's a joke. I don't hate kids. I don't even know why the state took mine away. I'm kidding. How can I not? No. All right, let's get into this. You know what? We're going to play a game. I call it C Tahoe Lotto. I'll be teaching in my lecture, and if you do it, I recommend changing the name. So this is C Tahoe Lotto. Everybody picks you, but I won't. No offense. Hi, who are you?
John.
John? You need to calm down. John, where are you from?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. I have no jokes about that. Let's move on. All right. Turns out this improv thing is harder than I thought. All right, what do you do for a living?
Firefighter.
Firefighter? Do we have a poll? I want to see this. No? All right. I was going to do a hose joke, but that was too obvious. All right, and who are you here with?
Tiffany.
Tiffany, you didn't even have to look. She's there the whole time. You can't get away from her, even at a magic convention. Wow. All right. And you're a performer also?
Yes.
All right, do you want to play C Tahoe Lotto?
Sure.
All right, all you have to do is name a playing card. That's a ticket. The tickets are playing cards because I'm a magician. So name a card.
8 of clubs.
The 8 of clubs. I should have put the cards on the table. All right. Yeah, I should not be drinking before the show. What's wrong with me? All right. So, name a card. 8 of clubs. Okay, good. I don't know who thought it would be a good idea to let me close the show. That was really wrong. All right. I guess it's probably because I'm going to make the raffle look really good. All right. I've forgotten what you said.
Do you want a new one or the one I have?
No, what'd you say?
8 of clubs.
8 of clubs. All right, thank you. All right. I thought you forgot too. Then we're both screwed. And by the way, Paul, I want my lotion back. I don't even have the pillows because he took them. All right, here we go. I don't know what that meant. All right. 8 of hearts? No. 8 of clubs. 8 of puppy feet, as we call it. I'm going to put that right there. Little pro tip for me. If you have someone pick a card and you want it, you can stand it up there. All right. I said these were lottery tickets, essentially. You win the prize that's written on the back of the card. In the ace of clubs, you would have won thumb screws. This would be done to you. Sorry, I should have mentioned that before you agreed to play. 7 of diamonds, what do you got here? Waterboarding. Ooh, that's always fun. These are all kinds of tortures. We got scalding. We got, I should read these up. Electroshock. Every single one is different. What is this? Drawn and quartered. Everyone is, we've got, the pear of anguish. That's kind of cool. The heretic's fork. I actually have never tried that. Flaying, flogging, pegging. Pegging? Is that a torture? That's me. All right, never mind. Kneecapping, iron chair, stoning. We got bamboo shoots under the fingernails. Judas, I thought it said Judas Priest because I've been hanging out with Paul. It's Judas Cradle. Judas Cradle. We've got Iron Maiden. We've got, Flying Frontier. No, you guys like Frontier. All right. The point is, you could have named any one of the cards, but you named the 8 of clubs, and you won. I think we can all agree this is probably, as magicians, the most horrible thing you could do to anybody on stage. Certainly in 2018 it was. Hug. No, not for me. You get it from that guy. Hug. Hug him. Hug him. He won. Hug him. All right. All right. No more goofing around. Let's put these cards away. All right. I'm not going to be manic the whole time. I got to hurry because I don't want to be here anymore. So let's do this. Let's. What happened? The microphone's still on. Okay, good. Oh, I've got this card. I was going to be done with the cards, but I've got this card. I carry this. I actually do. I carry this card with me to. Do you guys want to hear a joke? Cool. Not just any joke. This is the best joke in the world. Literally, not figuratively. Literally. Let me get it right. Knock, knock. Oh, you've heard it. Okay. Surely the only joke I had prepared. I was not expecting a sophisticated comedy crowd at the Magic Convention. All right. This. Oh, here. Look at this. We got this. This is my lucky card. This is true. I got this card in 1996. I am an old bastard. All right. Does that do something? Okay. I've been fortunate. I have been very fortunate. This is all I've ever done. Performing and doing tarot card readings. Can you imagine this doing tarot card readings? That's why I do this more. My nipples are hard, and I don't know why. It's probably because of your kilt. It's not you personally. I mean, my wife is Scottish and redhead, so her beard is thicker, but that's beside the point. Why does she have to get hurt? And they're British pennies. They're not English pennies. Just stop it. All right, you done with the water? That's right. I guess they put in the program, wait to recycle your bottles until TC's on. I really have been fortunate. I have performed literally all over the world. The past couple of years, I have done this silly stuff in St. Petersburg, Russia, Auckland, New Zealand, and now Myrtle Beach in the off season. I really do got to get a new agent. And I wrote email after email begging to be here. This card I got in one of my favorite, still after all these years, one of my favorite places to work, Las Vegas. I don't gamble, I don't drink, but I love Vegas. I love the feel of Vegas, probably because I love the Rat Pack. I love that whole feel. And people are surprised when certainly laymen, you guys probably don't gamble either. I tell, laymen I don't gamble, and they're like, what, why don't you play poker? It's like, because if I win, people will say I cheated. If I lose, well, then I'm not a very good magician, am I? So it's not going to work. I was working at Caesar's Palace in 1996. At that point, I was doing mostly stand-up comedy, a little bit of magic, but mostly comedy. But management there knew that I, at that time, was doing some gambling demonstrations, and they asked me if I would not mind entertaining the whales, the high rollers. People would come in, spend a lot of money. This was rolling dice, by the way. Bless you. Again, am I allowed to say that at this convention? I don't know the rules. Cthulhu, bless you. That freaked me out. Where is that guy? Is that what he does? What's his name, Vince? Vince, wow, no, you're not Vince. Why did you raise your hand? That's what you do. You do Vince. No. Someone didn't pay for registration. Vince freaked me out. I saw him in the hallway, and I was like, what does he do when he's not crushing small villages? We have to be acolytes or we're going to get stomped on. So I agreed to entertain the whales because at that point I wasn't doing much magic, mostly comedy, and I really enjoyed doing the gambling stuff. And I worked for one guy. I was there for about 2.5 months. I was there for like a month. I had a couple weeks off and then another month. I worked for a guy. He was there for about 3 months total, I believe. His name was Max. Was from Austin, Texas, and Max was a caricature of a gambler. He would bet on anything. I overheard him outside Caesars one day with another man betting on what leaf would fall from a tree. $100 a go on what leaf. I don't know how he had the money he had, but he was a super nice guy, but would bet on anything. I would get called up to his suite and it'd be a room full of guys and like 6 TVs, and they're all in different sports and they're betting on these games. Sometimes I get called up to his suite, it'd be a room full of guys and a bunch of ladies, and I would set up in the corner and do my tricks. Somebody knocking? Is that just me? It's kicking in now. All right. The time I got this card, I got called up to his suite. Management actually called me and said, Max hasn't been down to the tables in a couple of days. Can you go up and check on him? I said, sure. So I go up to the suite, I knock on the door, and he opens the door, and sure enough, he's not his jovial self. He's in there alone. I walk in, I take out my playing cards, and he looks at me and goes, you know, TC, not really in the mood to see a card trick. I'm gonna go get gonna get a cappuccino. Now, I knew that Max liked to go get these cappuccinos. There used to be, it's no longer there, it used to be a proper Italian coffee shop that was about 2 blocks behind Caesars, and I knew that he liked to go there. And he said, do you want to come with me? And I went, I'd love to. So we leave his suite, we go down the elevator, across the casino floor, and out the front doors. Now, it had been raining earlier that day, and things were a bit damp, and right outside the front door of Caesars was a puddle of water, and floating face down in that puddle was a playing card. This card. Max sees this card, he stops me, and he goes, hey, TC, I will bet you $100 you can't tell me what that card is. I was like, Max, if I can tell you what that card is, I think that's worth $200. He laughed, reached in his pocket, pulled out 2 $100 bills, and said, go for it. I was like, oh, okay. Bless you. I think it's a jack of diamonds. I reached for it, he slapped my hand. He literally, I'm a grown-ass man, and he slapped my hand. He said, no, I'm not going to have you do your sleight of hand. Max reaches into the water, pulls out the card, and it was indeed the jack of diamonds. I've kept this card since then. I took the $200, and I let him pay for the coffee. But I carry this with me to every single show that I do, because I often think back on this moment. I think, could it have been just dumb luck? Could I have been that lucky? Could it have been that moment that I somehow had true ESP, that I had a real clairvoyant moment? Could it be that I knew that Max liked to go get coffee, and before I went to his suite, I threw a card in the puddle? We may never know what happened. The point is, I have a $200 lucky card. Okay, we gotta hurry, because there's whiskey back there. All right, here, let's do this. I'm gonna, since this is bizarre, man, let me show you these. I got these. I really am from Montana. I was born and raised in Great Falls and left when I was 20. My grandfather, these are his coins. These are Morgan silver dollars. These are over 100 years old, and just for you guys, no shells. And sadly, yes, that is my layman scripting. These really were my grandfather's coins. They're over 100 years old. 2 were from the 1890s, 2 from the 1920s. My grandfather was not a coin collector. He was not a magician. He was, when he was 17, 18, and 19 years old, a performer in fairs and circuses. He traveled around the Midwest, parts of Canada, parts of Mexico, performing as a strongman mostly. He would wrestle people from the audience for money. He would tear phone books in half and blow up hot water bottles. He even had a quick draw act. Oh, I've got a great picture of him. I should have brought it here. You guys would have liked it. I've got a great picture of my grandfather laying in the road with these planks of wood on his stomach and the circus truck rolling up on top of his stomach. I do not take after that side of the family. But this is what he got paid with. These, when he was a teenager, and he kept some as souvenirs. I'm sure there are coin collectors like, please stop throwing the 100-year-old coins around, but Grandpa kept them in a junk drawer, so I don't think it matters. But he passed them on to me. He thought I could use them. This was one of my grandmother's jam jars. She used to make homemade jams and jellies, and she did not give this to me. Wasn't always a good kid. All right. This was my mother's favorite trick. She called it real magic. I call it 4 coins and a jam jar. I am not good with the names. 4 coins and a jam jar. And look, no Christopher Taylor electronics. It's actually in there. 3 coins, 1 coin is gone. Watch the thumb. Thank you. That's nice. I like that. You'll see a lot of performers over your lifetime, and most of those guys go for those standing ovations. I much prefer a smattering, because that makes me feel good about my life choices. A lot of times, 2 coins have not gone. A lot of times after the shows, people say to me, hey, TC, that thing with the coins, can you do that with your sleeves rolled up? I usually say, hey, shut up. Did it look like I used my sleeve? I didn't. I was popping and locking. Just like 4 people in here know what that is. All right, here we go, lads. 3 coins of Major League. I make the joke because people think we use our sleeve. Certainly laymen do. You guys know we don't. Who am I, Rocco? I don't use my sleeve. Look, you know what? I have used my sleeve one way. I've used my sleeve this way. You find a loose sleeve material. You take a coin or any small object and you push it right through the material. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 coins and a jam jar. You guys are great. Thank you for having me. Thank you. That's it. That's right, ending a bizarre magic show with a coin trick. Thank you.
Give my new brother, C Tahoe. A warm round of applause.